Darren from Best Man Civil Marriage Celebrant here again for you. First video for 2025, so Happy New Year. Haven't done a video for a little while, so this is the first one for the year. And so just basically today we're going to talk about how to find the best marriage celebrant for you. It's going to be a little bit ad hoc, so it'll be a lot of arms and ers, because a lot of it's going to be off the top of my head. I haven't got notes or anything. So how to find the best celebrant for you. Now, at the moment, a lot of people, because of the way the world's going and the way things are, especially here in Australia, a lot of people don't really want to talk to a lot of people. So the days of communicating over the phone, face to face, aren't as prominent as they used to be. So a lot of people, what I find they're doing now is going to sites like where you find tradesmen and things like that to actually look for a job. So they're going to places like One Flare, Bark, and a few other places like this, and putting an ad for a celebrant to contact them. Now, with this, what you're going to find is you're just going to get a lot of celebrants who are basically really desperate for work, willing to help you, but they're basically going to try to compete with the best price they possibly can. Now, a lot of couples out there, at the way financially at the moment, the way we are in the financial market and the cost of living, a lot of couples are looking for basically a cheaper avenue for their ceremony, or doing something simple. That's what I'm finding. A lot of couples are just saying they want something simple and basic. And then sometimes when you find out what they actually are after, they actually are going to have a big wedding, and they've booked a venue which is costing them thousands, paid for a dress which is also thousands, bridesmaids, other things, cars, cakes, photographers, everything, and it's in the thousands. But when they're looking for a celebrant, which is, you're probably going to find it's going to be the cheapest thing you pay for, but the most important thing, they're really trying to, they don't realise the importance of the celebrant, but also they're just actually looking for the cheapest price. In this way here, as on the other videos, is how much one of my previous videos is how much what is a celebrant going to cost you. You can have a look at that, and I go through what different scenarios will be. Now, I'll go reiterate that again. In regards to celebrants in Australia, especially, the price for what a celebrant charges you is not legislated by Australian law or state by state. So a celebrant will charge you what they feel they're worth, or what they think they're worth in that way. So again, you could be looking at anything from something basic around about $500 to something, a big wedding. You could be looking at quite a couple of $1,000s. Me, myself, Darren from Best Man Civil Marriage Celebrant, I'm not going to charge anything like that. And I find celebrants that do charge quite extravagant prices, I think that you've really got to look at it in certain ways. They may be good, but you've got to look at other things. You've got to look at basically what you want. Again, most people I speak to, it's always straight away, I just after something simple. Well, nothing too fancy, whatever. But they want to get to know you. But some people just do it by text or email, and a lot of couples I haven't really spoken to until closer to the date. So what you've as a couple, you've got to really understand what you actually want. Do you want something intimate in that way? Do you want the celebrant to be really part of your day in that way? A lot of couples, again, want to get to know you a lot more and find out, are you that right fit? But a lot of times I'll tell the couple that I'm not going to be in your pocket day to day. I'm not going to be calling you every day, finding out how the preparations are going. If I was to do that, it would be quite annoying, but some people like that. But some people don't want to be contacted at all. It's very hard even to get hold of people, even to speak to people, to some people these days. So what are you after? What kind of celebrant? Some will say they would prefer a female celebrant, or they prefer a male celebrant. Some want a older celebrant. Some want a younger celebrant, more vibrant. Some want a more serious celebrant or someone a really funny one. Again, the most majority I get is people who want someone that's got a good sense of humour, who's lively, who's going to make their ceremony quite an event in certain ways. But also think about it like this: when your guests turn up, and especially you as a couple, the ceremony should only last around about sometimes less than 10 minutes to no more than half an hour. If it's any longer than that, well, then if that's what you like, that's good. But this day and age, a lot of people lose their concentration pretty easily and get disinterested pretty soon. So you don't want a celebrant that's going to go on and on. Again, you may want that. You may want your love story to be told in every kind of detail possible. Some people have prayers, readings, songs, all different things. Again, I always say if it belongs too long, people will lose interest in that, and that's this day and age. Old days, back in church weddings, you'd be sitting there and your bum would be getting numb from sitting on a wooden pew for such a long period. So a lot of people, again, want that sort of simple thing. What, again, as a celebrant in the ceremonies that I will conduct, the main thing, as I always say, is it's the introduction and the body, which is the story, saying your I do's, saying your personal vows to each other, the legal parts, which doesn't take too long, and the and exchanging of your rings, and then the conclusion and declaring you as a married couple, and then it's about 5 minutes after that to do all the signing. It shouldn't take any more than that, and then after that, announcing the couple from there, and however you want to be announced as. And that's about it. Then, so basically, as I said, with my ceremonies, they're usually less than 10 minutes and around about 5 minutes for all the signing. So you're only putting up with me, or your guests are putting up with me for around about 15 minutes. But I try to make or limit the time that I'm talking a lot of the times, because even though I like to make people listen to what I'm saying, or they're hearing me, but they're not really seeing me. They're looking at the couple, and I always make sure that the guests and even the couple are focusing, as a couple are focusing on themselves, and the guests are focusing on both of you. That's the most important thing. Again, if you're having a celebrant, some celebrants, you'll find that it's all about them. So this is something that you don't want. As I said, you can find this on the website. Just going on their website, scrolling through, looking at them, seeing how much they really promote themselves. As I said, if it's all about them, well, really, does anyone really care about what the celebrant's all about? As long as they look presentable, that's the most important thing. They're dressed well, they're on time, they're punctual, and they're professional. That's the most thing. But again, the thing that also what you want is at the end of the ceremony, if someone was to actually ask, "What did you think of the celebrant?" Basically, what you want is them to say, "Oh, I didn't really notice. Yeah, the ceremony was beautiful, but the celebrant, I didn't notice." That's what you want. You don't want to go, "Oh yeah, oh God, they were pretty loud, or they were really good." They might say they were really funny, they were really good, but if they're just discussing the celebrant the whole time, well, then that's taking the focus off you. So this is the most important thing you want. You want a celebrant that is basically focusing on you, not themselves. And there is a lot of celebrants out there who it's all about them. If you go into a website and they start talking about themselves and what they do and what they have honey in their tea and things like that, and they love walks on the beach and spending time with their dog, really, who cares? I mean, that's not something, that's not your concern. As long as, again, you're professional, you're on time. Another thing is when you're contacting a celebrant, and you want someone to contact you, if that celebrant contacts you straight back or gets onto you straight away, well, that's your first tick in the box to say this celebrant's good. If a celebrant fails to get back to you after a day or something, or you've got to call them back to say, "Did you get my message?" They go, "Oh yeah, I'll get onto it later." I think it's a cross straight away for that celebrant. Again, some will go, "Well, they're about $50 or $100 cheaper, so I've got to go for them." Same as a tradesman. If you're doing that, if they're not getting back to you, well, how good are they going to be on the job itself? And also, if they're not punctual to get back to you, are they going to be on time on the day? So you got to look at that. So again, if I'm looking for a tradesman, it's if I put an ad in or whatever, or if I call someone, they answer the phone straight away. That's a huge tick in the box. Or if it goes to their voicemail, they get back to me straight away. It's best to call a celebrant because unlike a tradesman or whatever, you want a quote for a certain job to fix a tap or whatever. That's fine. You don't really care about that personality. With a celebrant, you're after that personality. You really want to know what they're like. Are they dull? How do they talk? Again, I have a lot of couples who email me, text, and never speak to me. And they'll make their mind up, not even speaking to me either via video call or over the phone. And they'll go, oh, I went for another one. You think, but I didn't even give you a quote for a start, and you never spoke to me. So how do you know? Oh, I just got a vibe. Seriously? The thing is with it is you need to speak to that person. How do you feel when you speak to them, their voice? Some people, you might not like their voice. It might not, some people might not like my voice. Some people might want a more of a manly voice or a more feminine voice or a female celebrant who is more of an older type or a traditional grandmother or a more uplifting young girl or whatever. So it's really up to you. Some people are different. So that's the other thing. You've really got to basically find out what really clicks. So in that way there, you have to basically speak to that celebrant. It's not something you just go, what do you charge? That's the other thing. When you ring a celebrant, just don't ask straight away, just like a job interview, like how much am I getting paid, is what does it cost? Well, again, a celebrant, if they give you a price straight away, you think, well, do you just charge one price? It does vary between celebrant to celebrant, or what they charge is ceremony to ceremony. So again, it's a lot involved. So that's again, it's you'll have to sort of state what kind of ceremony you're after. Some people say, I'm getting married. What's the price? What's your price? So it's like, well, I need to speak to you. Then you go to call them, they won't answer. So you think, okay, well, are you after a celebrant? Or you may as well go to if that's the case, if you don't want to talk to someone or you don't want to, ring the registry office in your state and just go and have a wedding in an office somewhere and it's done. So it's more of a legals only ceremony. That's your best bet if you're not really interested in personalities or whatever. The other thing that you've got to ask, or the questions you have to ask or be aware of, or is the legalities of getting married. That's the most important thing. You might find a celebrant that is perfect, has that right personality, but you've got to ask, and don't be afraid to ask, is all the legal questions that you have. If they're a bit like, I'll get back to you on that, again, cross in the box straight away. This is the thing. You might find a celebrant that, they seem okay, but if they are on the ball and that sort of thing, you've got to understand like the legalities. What is their understanding? If they send you the documents straight away, or they answer the questions, the legal questions you have straight away, and in detail that you are after, and it's understandable. And again, another big tick in the box. Because what you have to understand is you might be have your legal ceremony on the day, and it was great. The ceremony went beautifully, and it was well spoken, and everything went perfect. But then after that, you're not legally married until the marriage is actually lodged with births, deaths, and marriages. Is this going to be done on time? Ask that question. When do you register our wedding? Or when's it lodged? When do you do it? They go, within a week or so. No, you don't want that. With myself, I'll do it within 24 hours. It's got to be done straight away. Whether they've got 10 weddings on a weekend, if that's the case, again, crossing the box. You don't want that. You want a celebrant that is only doing at least 1 or 2 weddings a day. You don't want any more than that. Otherwise, they won't get to your ceremony. If it's put in an in tray, and I'll get to that later on, you don't want that. With myself, I'll get home, put the file down, and I'll do it within the 24 hours after that ceremony lodged. And also, I apply for your official marriage certificate from births, deaths, and marriages, and you'll receive that within 5 to 10 days. These are sort of things that you want to hear from a celebrant. It's not just about, I'll make your day beautiful and memorable, and everything will be beautiful, and I'll be part of your life, and I'll be part of you on that day. Again, They're just selling themselves in that way. You want someone who is confident and knows what they're talking about. So always ask about the legal part. When will my marriage be lodged? Always ask that question. Don't be afraid. Um, Now, at the moment with celebrants, you can actually be registered online, um, or you actually can be a celebrant where you post everything off. Once the marriage is done, all the documents are put into the mail, sent to births, deaths and marriages. They've got to input all their information in the system, then lodge your wedding from there. And then you have to apply for your official marriage certificate yourself, which takes a bit of time online. That's going to take a little while, because even though you're married, if everything's posted off, depending on the time of year, so this time of year, if I was to post legal documents in the mail now, which is early January, it's going to take about a week before it gets to births, deaths and marriages. And I can tell you here right now that being a government agency and being public servants at the moment, they're very snowed under, and it's going to take them a long time to input that information. So here you are about a week or two after your wedding, but it's not in the system yet. You're not legally married. So if something happens to you or that celebrant, again, you're not legally married. Again, you need a celebrant that is going to be to lodge your wedding straight away, and also apply for your official marriage certificate. The fee really ranges, because it does take a little bit of time to do it online for the celebrant. So they might charge you a small surcharge for that. I charge $90 for the official marriage certificate through births, deaths and marriages, and you'll get it within 5 to 10 days. If you do it yourself, it takes about an hour to do it online. You've got to lodge everything. You've got to basically submit a lot of paperwork again, and then you put it off, and it's got to be inputted by, again, the Office of Births, Deaths and Marriages, and that could take a long time, because again, they've got a lot of work to do on their end. So ask the celebrant, or can they apply for that for you to save you time? If they say no, you have to do that themselves. Again, you could have like a semi-tick in the box, or a semi-cross in the box, because I think that's something that is quite important. I do this, it's part of my service. I always say this is what I do for you. But some people go, oh, well, I could save like $10 or $15, $20 there, so I'll go to the next celebrant who won't do it for me, because we'll do it ourselves, because then we'll save $20, but they've just spent $3,000 on a cake, or $5,000 on a dress, or $2,000-$3,000 on a photographer, but $20. Okay. Again, this is just experience from myself. It might seem rude, but again, you really need to know that what your celebrant is talking about legally, and are they going to do things on time. That is the most important thing. Talk about that. But if you don't feel comfortable with that celebrant, of course, this is the important part of the day. They're in front of you on that real intimate moment when you two are looking at each other. And so you want someone that is going to make you feel comfortable, because as I said, it's another thing. Also ask about the during your personal vows and certain points, like when you do the final kiss, like you may kiss the bride, or you may kiss each other. You've got to make sure that celebrant is out of the way, because you don't want someone who's just basically ahead when you two are coming together, and there's just a head sticking up from a celebrant there, and then you've got to edit, the photographer's got to edit that head out, and it looks like they're a bit creepy, so or a bit weird. So I always make sure I'm out of the picture during that point. So also, don't be afraid to ask that question. Will you be there when we're doing our personal vows? I always step to the side, because that's an intimate moment. You're both telling or looking at each other, telling your true feelings to each other, but also your guests as well. So you've got to make sure that people are focused on you, so there's not someone in the middle while you're doing that part. But otherwise, there's also other things where with don't be afraid to ask, like, where are you going to stand? Like, where does a celebrant stand while you're doing the wedding? Some people say, can you stand off to the side? So basically the photographer is just focused on both of us. So you could, when you get there, you could talk to the photographer saying they don't really want me in the shot. So is there any way, could you do it from a side or whatever? Because again, some couples don't want the celebrant there. But again, there's certain points in the ceremony that the celebrant needs to be there or close to you. So if you want them right to the side in the corner, it sometimes isn't going to work. And it's something that, because then you're going to have your guests looking to that side when the celebrant's talking, back to you, back to them, back to you. It's like a tennis match. You don't want that. Again, some people don't want the celebrant standing right there, but again, for pictures later on, it is always good to have your celebrant it is there right in the middle of you or near you. It doesn't have to be right next to you, but you can, for photos and that sort of stuff, with technology these days, with the photographers and with applications and that sort of stuff, you can actually edit the celebrant out of your picture, and you won't even notice they were there at all. As I said, it's not important to me. Sometimes the couples will ask if can they have a photo with me after the ceremony, which is really a beautiful moment, of course. But majority don't care. Once I'm done, honestly, most couples don't care. I mean, I drift off into the sunset. And they know that I'm going to lodge their wedding straight away. So if a celebrant does sort of leave, that's what I try to do. I try to meet with the couple before I leave, but depending on how busy the couple are, they've got a lot to do. But I always try to manage to say congratulations and that sort of stuff. But again, it's something that if they're busy, you also ask it, like just say, will you be sticking around? Whatever. Again, you don't have to feed the celebrant. You don't have to offer drinks and that sort of stuff. They're there to marry you, and that's all you need to do. So don't feel obligated that you've got to invite them to your reception or anything like that. I get a lot of questions about would you like to stay for the reception or afterwards for a drink? I say, only if I'm invited, of course. I mean, that'd be lovely. Sometimes it's like, I'm there to marry you. That's my most important priority. And I like to get back as soon as possible to register your wedding. So if a celebrant denies that, it's not a rude sort of gesture. It's sometimes they would like to get back to register your wedding, which is a good thing. That's what I do anyway. But if you have a celebrant saying, oh, you've got to feed me, or you've got to give me some drinks, and I need this, and I need this, and this, and they've got demands, crossing the box. Anyway, hopefully that is helpful for you. Again, if you've got any questions or you're looking at getting married, again, I do ceremonies in the Hunter Valley area in New South Wales to Central Coast, all the way up to Taree, Central Coast, Sydney, of course, and I can do other areas. I've got a wedding coming up in Albury, Canberra, Wollongong, all places like that. So again, give me a call, Darren at Best Man Civil Marriage Celebrant on 0411 398 395, or have a look at my website at www.bestmancelebrant.com.au, or find me on Facebook just by looking for or on Instagram or X. You can find me there as well. I just put up some photos and things like that, or my Google business page. You can look at that just by searching Best Man Civil Marriage Celebrant, and you'll find all the photos and reviews and things like that. Again, another thing, probably a good idea to look at reviews of that celebrant, to have a look at it. Sometimes you might find that you can usually tell that some of the reviews are written by mum and dad or their best friends. Make sure sometimes there's photos of the celebrant with other couples and that sort of stuff, or sometimes videos might help. But again, if you don't find videos from the celebrant of weddings, it is very hard to actually get videos of couples. I don't video my weddings because that's a personal thing. I sometimes ask for videos, but again, once they're married, they tend to forget, and I'm not going to be hounding like, please send me a video of your wedding. I need it as soon as possible to put online. And some people feel a bit uncomfortable about that. So again, you just get that feel. So hopefully that helps. Again, give me a call. Would love to help any beautiful couple out there who are looking at getting married or having their vows renewed, or just having a commitment ceremony if you don't want any basically legal part, just like a wedding without the legalities. So please have a great new year. I'm hopefully post a new video out very, very soon. So bye-bye, and have a great year. Bye-bye.